Our next currently scheduled meeting is, let's see, I can't see the date, February 9th, and that's what I have on my calendar. So hopefully everyone else does as well. And welcome all. Thank you for taking your time to be here. I hope you all are having a positive start to the year. We are in a 2021, so I think that we're all hopeful on a lot of fronts. So just one slide of recap, because I'm not any longer going to go back through the history of where we've been and the changes at the national level. I think we have discussed that thoroughly enough. But just for those who are perhaps new to the call or new to the group, we have formalized our Michigan Financial Wellness Network, which really has grown organically over the past, gosh, really 5 years probably. We are formally the Michigan Financial Wellness Network, which is comprised of partners from all sectors, all working together to deliver non-solicitous financial education resources to our residents here in Michigan. And then the work of our group is the Money Smart Michigan initiative, and a year-round effort, which used to be very focused on a single week in April, but now we are expanding that and really embracing what we kind of have been doing for several years, at least to my knowledge, and bringing partners together on a regular basis with the goal of delivering high quality financial education and resources to our residents. And then within that is the campaign, the Money Smart Michigan Month campaign, to be a focused effort to raise awareness and engagement during the month of April, which of course we all know is Financial Literacy Month nationally. And so what used to be our focus, our sole focus, was Money Smart Week of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, can now be subsumed within our month-long campaign of Money Smart Michigan Month. And just as I will continue to reiterate, all of our efforts through this group or associated with this group are to be non-solicitous. All programs, events, and materials are non-solicitous, so no sales pitches. So let's give some updates of what's going on. Over the holidays and into the new year, I've been working diligently on underwriting and programming, as well as some infrastructure and promotional vehicles. So let's start with funding. It does require some money to do what it is we do. And so I want to recognize those organizations that have stepped up as we embark on this adventure, this evolution of what we're doing. And those organizations have committed financial resources as well as other assets, I guess I'll say. So Ally, Michigan Credit Union Foundation, Raymond James, Oakland County Michigan Works, the JP Studinger Group, and of course, Michigan Council on Economic Education continues as our fiscal agent. And without that role, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing either. So we are still seeking underwriting support, and I'm continuing to have conversations with organizations that are interested in supporting the work that we're doing to make this possible. You know, if we find value in having this network and find value in opportunities provided on an ongoing basis to work together to accomplish our goals and accomplish the mission, it does require financial support. So if anyone has an interest in that conversation, let me know and we can schedule something at your convenience. On the programming front, I have a couple large-scale initiatives to give updates on. Our Money Smart Kids Read is happening, as you all know, thanks to our Michigan Credit Union Foundation and all of their member credit unions that have provided funding for numerous years for Michigan's Money Smart Kids Read. We have ordered 7,500 custom copies of the Cinders McLeod Give It, which is a third book in the Money Bunny series that we've used for the last 2 years. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Very excited to use it again. Librarians love it and kids love it. We have reached the maximum number of requests that we can accommodate. And in fact, we've exceeded the number of books that we have coming with the amount of requests that have come in. So right now, what I've been doing behind the scenes is reaching out to some libraries to ask if they have asked for only the number of books that they know they need, or if they were kind of if it was a stretch ask, to see if we can find books that we can utilize to meet the requests of some of the other libraries that their requests came in late, which always happens. It's not unusual, but we did get requests that came in late after the window to order was closed. So that's one of the things I'm doing in the background, is I'm reaching out to individual libraries or library systems to see if we can't shake loose some copies to accommodate those libraries that came in later. Another new announcement, I'm excited, developing a relationship with the Michigan Department of Treasury. And I'm excited at the prospect that our Michigan Treasurer, Treasurer Eubanks, is possibly going to be a guest reader for us on a statewide level. And I'm very excited about that for a number of reasons. And so I wanted to share that within the group here. And the idea there is that we are looking at the possibility of having her record the reading of the storybook, and allow and then provide that a link to that recording to our libraries, and offer that as an option for them to utilize in their Money Smart Kids Read project this year. So not required, not mandated, but kind of a cool way to tie in with the State Treasury Department, and showcase, one of our state leaders that may not be as much of a household name as some others. And so I'm very excited at the prospect of that happening. So stay tuned if you're a library, or if you partner with libraries, that we're working to make that happen. Our Money Smart Kids Magic Show, as you know, has been something sponsored by Ally Financial for the past several years. And I'm excited to say that we have their renewed support. Very excited to say that. And so now I am working with our performer, America's favorite funny man, Mr. Tacey, and we're going to be digitizing that program. So what had in the past been a 45-minute in-school assembly, which obviously is not possible for 2021, we're going to be having him record the show in segments as well as in its entirety. So if you work with a low to moderate income school, or if you're with a school, let me know, because that is that's in the works. And I don't have dates yet. I don't have the actual files yet, because it will take us some time to get that organized in such a way that we can make those available, probably again through our YouTube channel. So that's very exciting. And thanks to Ally for coming back in a big way and continuing to support our efforts, and allowing us to take this very successful in-school program and do our best to continue to serve those low-income schools and digitize the program. Oh, and I see the chat here. So can the book recording be made available to others that are not libraries but work with youth? Sure, I don't see why not. If Treasurer Eubanks, if this dream of mine, another Kelly has a crazy dream, does come to fruition, I would certainly be happy to share her reading of our book with other organizations that work with youth, for sure. And then Grosse Pointe Library would be interested in showing the magic show. Mary, we can talk about that offline. The Ally sponsorship is specifically for low-income elementary schools. And I don't want to overreach, because Mr. Tacey is available to hire. He, his business has been decimated, as you might imagine, being an in-person live performer that does, his business is going into libraries and going into schools and doing festivals. He has been able to convert his program to an online format, whether it be Facebook Live or Zoom or a recorded session. So I don't want to take away from him feeding his family by expanding yes, and Mary, I would encourage you to contact him to book him specifically for a program for your library. And he's very creative. So you could do a live, like a Facebook Live event if you wanted to, all kinds of things that organizations can contract him to do. So I would hope that folks are doing that. In fact, over the holidays, he was doing family specific magic shows, and I promoted it among my kind of mom tribe. And a lot of families booked him, paying him directly to do a private show for family that could be in multiple states, but came together. So yeah, I would encourage that. And I can connect you with him if that's helpful. The other update, very excited to announce that our Funding the Future initiative, which for those of you who've been around for a few years now, know that this is the musical groups, which started with Gooding, and many of you had the distinct pleasure of meeting that musical group at one of our kickoff events. And they've expanded now. They have multiple musicians and performers that do a full-on concert that then is incorporated with a personal finance presentation. So they have worked diligently to confirm or convert what they do to a virtual delivery for high school, and they're now doing middle schools as well. So through our good friend Colleen Schoen and her work with Funding the Future and her own firm, Anthem Advisors and Raymond James offices in Michigan, we are looking to book Funding the Future concerts this year. Again, virtual delivery into middle and high schools, and we find sponsors for that so that the school is not asked to fund the, it's $3,500 per show. So we find sponsors to pay for those concerts. And so I'm very excited to share with you that they have found a platform. They've already tested it with 2 different elementary or high schools here in Michigan in terms of, online, digital safety and security of students and all of that. So a lot of work has gone on behind the scenes with that. And if you are interested in having either your high school or a high school you work with considered to host and receive one of these shows, you can reach out to me and I can connect you with Colleen to make that happen. And there are, I think, 2 of the acts that we're going to be working with that are doing this virtually. So Carter Halsey and Gooding, I believe, both of them, and maybe one of the others, but I'm not sure about that. So the Money Smart Fempreneur Summit, those of you who have been around for a while know that that was near and dear to my heart. And we started with just a small business event, gosh, I don't know, 6 years ago. And it's evolved into a fantastic, was a day-long in-person event. And then we were able to convert and pivot that to an online delivery back in October to a half-day event serving the needs of female entrepreneurs. And the feedback was fantastic. Attendees really valued the experience. And so we are planning, fingers crossed, for a full day Fempreneur Summit in June in person. That is our hope. But before that, kind of as a prelude to June, we are going to do an event in April as part of our Money Smart Michigan month. And so if you're interested in being a part of that, that is happening. We don't have a date nailed down yet, but we have a rough draft of an agenda for that online event in April. Again, leading up to the full-scale event, hopefully in person in June. So stay tuned for that. And I have to say a big thank you and a big shout out to Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union and TCF Bank, especially those two organizations that were willing to kind of roll with the punches. And that event had to be rescheduled and rescheduled again and then converted online. And so thanks to all of the many panelists and speakers and facilitators and sponsors that made that possible. Okay, so now let's talk about some infrastructure. I've gone over updates on funding, which we are still seeking, some of the programming that I'm, personally involved with, kind of a large scale programming. Now let's talk about some of our infrastructure here for the network. As you know, I mentioned a couple of times now, I've developed a Google form that will convert into a Google Sheet, which is essentially kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. The purpose in this partner connection Google form is to help facilitate collaboration between these monthly meetings. So it is a Google Doc, and it's to help facilitate those connections when we are not together via Zoom or in person. So this is different from being in my distribution list to receive the monthly updates or the monthly newsletter, okay? They're two separate things. So I'm using MailChimp to stay in communication with everybody, to make announcements for meetings like this or upcoming deadlines. But the Google Doc is intended specifically so that if you are a presenter, if you are a financial expert or have financial education resources to share, or if you are a hosting partner or you have a group of constituents that you are hoping to bring programming to, this Google form, this Google Doc, is intended for you two to be able to find each other, right? So if you don't enter your information, you won't be there. Like, no one will know that you're looking for collaborative opportunities. So those are two separate things. If you get my email every month, you are in my e-newsletter distribution list, but that is not the same thing as this Google Doc. So, and the reason we did this is because I routinely get requests from folks who are either hoping to have speaking engagements or from organizations who are seeking presenters. And so, in the past, I've had this kind of homemade little spreadsheet that I would keep, and I would update it as I learned of different things. And I thought, I want to have something a little more formal that I can grant access to people who are in one of those two boats, right? They're looking for speaking opportunities or they're seeking presenters. And so this Google document, by completing it, by entering your information, you are granting me permission to share that information with other partners in our Michigan Financial Wellness Network, okay? And so far, I have 22 entries. So 22 individuals have submitted their information, and that's after I took out some duplicates. We had a couple folks who probably didn't know if they put in their information, and so they went and did it again. So I've taken those duplicates out. So we actually have 22 single individuals who are in this document now. And I also want to make clear that this is a document that is only going to be shared with individuals who have themselves entered their information. So this is not something that I'm going to make widely publicized. It's meant for collaborative purposes, and hopefully people will use it professionally and not use it for spam purposes, which is what happened to me like 7 years ago. I used to share my spreadsheet widely and freely, and then one person decided to take all those contacts and dump them into their marketing database. So I stopped doing it because that's not the intent of this. This is for you to make connections with each other in hopefully a more efficient way than waiting for me to get your email, read your email, think about who to send you to. I can just provide you with this document on a fairly, periodic basis, because as it gets updated, I'll send it back out with the new additions. So there's that piece for connecting in between our monthly gatherings. So the other thing that I've been working on is some sort of a website that we can utilize as kind of our home base. And just so I could get a feel for it, I am using a free platform right now. We are going to end up paying for a hosting platform, but I'm keeping it very, very simple. For those of you who have been around for quite a while, you know that through our former campaign leadership, we went through many, 4 in my time with that campaign, 4 different platforms. And some were more effective than others. Some were very complicated. Some were not user-friendly. So this is, I'm very intentionally going to be very simple. It's basically a home page that explains, for the consumer, a home page that says, hey, if you're looking for some resources or classes, you're in the right place. There is an about page which explains, the Money Smart Michigan initiative, a bit about the Michigan Financial Wellness Network, and then our campaign focus for April of Money Smart Michigan month. There is a resources page where I hope to house an event schedule, a very simple event schedule. This is not going to be a complicated, put in your age to search for class matches. This is just literally going to be, you submit your information for non-solicitous events, and I will post them to our event webpage. And so RSVPs, if you require them, will need to be done through your own means, right? Whether it's by an email or phone or a link back to your own website. This is a place for us to showcase events that this network is providing, but we're not doing the registration for events. And I have a separate Google form where people can enter their event information that I will glean that to post it to our webpage. And then we also are going to have just one other page on the website so far. These are the only pages that I'm intending to have. And that's just a partners page, just basically saying, here's what the Michigan Financial Wellness Network is, and here are some of the member organizations that are on standby, ready to help. And so organizations, especially that are underwriting, financially making possible what we're doing, I'm going to include them on this page with a link back to their website, understanding that some of our smaller nonprofit organizations are generally not in a position to be able to underwrite the initiative. So for them, we will allow for a nominal, like $100 annual investment. We will allow them to also be included on this webpage. And again, that is being reserved for some of our very small social service type organizations. So right now that's the website, and I encourage you to check it out, moneysmartmichigan.weebly.com. And once I have enough underwriting and we pay for the hosting of the site, we'll be able to drop the weebly.com, and our official web address, which I've already purchased, is moneysmartmichigan.org. But for right now, to get to the website, you need to use moneysmartmichigan.weebly.com. So some other Michigan updates. So I mentioned on the website, we hope to have an events page or event listing within our resources page. And I use the term event just kind of generically to mean, workshops, classes, webinars, and so forth. So when I say the term event, that doesn't mean it's, an in-person event. It could be a workshop, class, webinar, and so forth. All non-solicitous, I will repeat that again, all non-solicitous events can be considered for inclusion on our webpage. So there is this Google form, again, Google form, just to make it, much easier for me to collect the information. The Google form needs to be filled out completely. So when you go there, you'll realize that I ask for a contact name that could be different than the person that the public would contact with questions. So you need to read the form closely, because some of the fields are meant for internal purposes. And in some of the fields, it might seem redundant if you're not reading or scrutinizing it closely, because it could be a different person or a different email or a different phone number that someone with questions would contact. So the Google form is finished, and thanks to Lori and Kathy for being my guinea pigs and testing it out for me. I appreciate it. Their feedback was great and gave me some things to correct or to edit and refine a bit. So that Google form is ready. When you have programs ready to go and you want them included or considered for inclusion on the Money Smart Michigan event page, you will just fill out that Google form, and I'll check it periodically, and then I will add those to our event webpage. And when you complete it, please, I beg of you to fill out the form in a way that you would want it to appear on the website, meaning try to use complete sentences and grammar and punctuation and capitalization, so that it's efficient for me to be able to add it to the website, so that I don't have to do a ton of editing. That would be most appreciated. Oops, I forgot to change the title. This slide should actually read social media. I was working on this just before I launched the meeting, so I apologize I didn't get that updated. But as we go forward, it's going to be even more and more important that we leverage our social media platforms. And right now, I do have our Facebook page, which thankfully I had always called Money Smart Michigan, and our Twitter account has always been My Money Smart, MI for Michigan Money Smart. So if you haven't already liked our Facebook page or haven't followed us on Twitter, please do that. These are platforms that can be very useful and add to our overall outreach efforts as we move forward. Okay, so I am going to stop screen sharing in just a minute, because I do want us to get into some breakout rooms. It's 9 o'clock, so we've been at this for about a half hour. So as you go into breakout rooms, it looks like I'm probably going to be able to do 4, maybe 5, probably 5 breakout rooms. I think we'll do 5 breakout rooms this morning. I want you to think about, who is in the room, and what are some possible collaborations that you want to explore, and go into this efficiently, thinking about, well, what is it that you are offering and what is it that you need? Okay. And then what are you working to achieve, and what intersections might you find in these sessions? Okay. So let's see if there's anything else. Remote website, financial institution. Oh, okay. So I answered your question. Okay, great. I love it when that happens. I already answered one of the questions. So get your thoughts organized. I'm going to send us randomly. I'm just going to randomize some breakout rooms, and it would probably be helpful. Before we do that, Linda had asked, boy, we don't have this. We have 28 people on the call. I think if we go do a round robin now, Linda, I think we're going to eat up all of our breakout room time. So I'm not sure that we can do that. Maybe in 2 weeks, we do another meeting for more networking. That was one of my questions I'm going to pose to you all is, Our next scheduled meeting isn't until February 9th. And since we're already into the new year and April's right around the corner, I'm wondering if it might not make some sense to gather again in 2 weeks and maybe do a another gathering without all of the monthly updates, but just for facilitated networking. So give that some thought. I'm going to ask for you to chime in, all of you to chime in on that idea to see if we want to do another meeting in 2 weeks. And then again, keep our February 9th meeting. So does anybody have any questions about what we're going to do in the breakout rooms? I want you to get to know each other, pretend we're sitting around a table like we would have done pre-pandemic, and what it is that you are offering and what it is that you need. That's really my intention. All right. Nobody has questions? I'm going to go ahead then and I've never done this before. So I think what we will do, if I do 5 breakout rooms, that means there will be 5 to 6 people in your room. If we do a 10-minute session, you have to be efficient, then come back, and then I will randomize you again so you have an opportunity to meet another group of people. Okay, so I'm going to do 6 rooms, assign automatically. Let's see how this works. All right, ready, set, have fun. Out the meeting. It's almost 9:30. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, and I do have just one more bit to discuss, and then of course we can open it up to general discussion after. But just to review the upcoming coffee chat schedule, we are on the books for Tuesday, February 9th, and my goal is to have a similar format as we did today, so I can give you some updates, you can ask some questions, and then we can do some more of this randomized networking. And it sounds like, based on the input in the chat, there is an interest in getting together again in 2 weeks with a focus on more relationship building. So I will go ahead, when I send out the follow-up e-newsletter, which I've been doing each month after our meeting. I've been sending out a newsletter that includes links to where people can watch the meeting on demand if they weren't able to participate in person. I will include that added January 27th date. And then I guess my other question is, if folks think there is value in having kind of a twice a month schedule. One would be just, the normal monthly meeting with, me providing updates and answering questions, and then a part of the meeting being some collaborative facilitated networking, and then perhaps a Zoom in between that would focus solely on networking. Certainly I'm happy to answer questions, but if it makes sense to do that, perhaps between now and April 1st, to do kind of a twice a month sort of thing. I don't see us wanting that level of frequency the rest of the year unless things change, but it just feels to me like between now and April 1st, it might make some sense to get together twice a month, one with a formalized meeting and the other focus more on networking. So that's where my head is, and thanks for everyone who's chiming in onto the chat with your opinion about that. So just to close things out with a recap, I think we will add a date on January 27th. Our next meeting, our formal meeting of February 9th is in the books. All of April, of course, is Money Smart Michigan month. So with that, I'm going to leave it open. I'm going to adjourn the meeting officially at 9:29, a minute ahead of schedule, which never happens for me. But if folks want to unmute and ask questions, share updates, I mean, I'm open to leaving this Yeah, thank you for being here. Everyone's saying thank you. And yes, the 27th works. Networking was helpful. That's great. Communications. Okay. Peggy, if you haven't, we need to get you added to the distribution list if you're not already in the site. So send me an email at moneysmartmichigan@gmail.com. If you are not getting the newsletters directly, just send me an email and I can work with you to get you added to the e-newsletter list. All right, so I'm done talking for today. Thanks everybody for joining, and I'll leave the mics. If you guys want to unmute, if you have any questions or suggestions, comments, thoughts, updates, feel free to do that now. Oh, you're welcome, Dawn.
Thank you, Kelly. It was great to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Did folks find the breakout rooms helpful? I guess that's the question.
Very helpful.
Yes, they're very helpful.
Great.
You know, because we only have such a short time, it was very efficient.
Right. I mean, I love to go around the whole room, but when you have 30 people on a call, that's 45 minutes because nobody sticks to 60 seconds.
So are you thinking 8:30 again?
Yeah, I'm trying to stick with 8:30. At least that's one thing that can be consistent. You know, I'm changing the days of the week because I have some partners who have standing commitments on Friday. They will never be able to be here on Friday. And other people have standing commitments like staff meetings or whatever every Wednesday. So I'm trying to alternate days of the week, but at least if I keep this 8:30 time, at least that's one thing that's consistent.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to make the 27th. I have another, I'm involved in a conference. I wish I could. I'll see what time I have to be at the conference, but it was very helpful.
Great.
Okay. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care.
You too, Kelly. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.